In this video, guys, we're going to be doing an entire real estate property shoot from start to finish. Now, the type of home we're going to be shooting is a smaller 1,000 square foot townhome, but I specifically chose this type of property for this video because oftentimes smaller listings are a little bit more difficult to shoot. Also, the exterior of the property isn't a beautiful facade, it's a large townhome. So I wanted to give you guys a good example of how to shoot these smaller properties. When you're first starting out in this business, you're going to shoot a lot of smaller homes and townhomes and condominiums. So it's about an hour and a half before the shoot now, and one thing I always like to do is something called the 1 hour phone call. And in this phone call, I'm gonna ask first and foremost, is the property ready to shoot? Secondly, what areas do you want me to highlight? Third, what areas do you want me to avoid? And fourth, are you gonna be there or is there a lockbox? And the reason I ask these questions is to know if actually when I get there at 2 o'clock, am I gonna be able to start shooting? And how am I gonna get in the property? Are you gonna be there? Is there gonna be a lockbox or something like that for me to access the property? And then also, oftentimes real estate agents are very busy and maybe they forgot to tell you about something they really wanted to show at the property. So it just gives you the opportunity to get a lot of detail about the shoot that's gonna happen in the next hour, and for you to basically clear up any sort of communication that between you and the agent prior to the shoot. So I'm gonna do my 1 hour phone call and then you'll see me at the property shoot, and I'm gonna go through the exterior, the interior, detail shots, and the view shots of the golf course. So we'll see you guys at the shoot. We just got to the property here, and before I get my equipment out, start shooting anything, is I actually like to walk the home, get a really good sense of the layout. And if the realtor was here, and she isn't today, it's a lockbox, I would actually walk it with the realtor and ask them, what areas you want me to show, what areas you want me to avoid maybe, and get a really good sense of the property. So with that said, let's go check it out. All right, so we got the lockbox down here. One thing to never do is to take the lockbox key out and put it in your pocket. One rule of thumb and etiquette I always tell people is when you open the lockbox, use it to unlock the door and then put it immediately back. Alrighty, got the door open. Now I'm gonna put the key back. There we go. And that's how you never lose a lockbox key. Okay, now that we got the door open, we're gonna walk through the property. We're gonna put away anything that looks like clutter or is distracting. We're gonna turn on all the lights. We're gonna make sure all the toilet seats are down. We're gonna hide any type of toilet paper, tissues, paper towel rolls. We're gonna open blinds. We're gonna open up doors. Basically make the home as presentable as possible and basically prep it for taking photos and video. Lights are over there. So as you can see, we have a beautiful view off the balcony here. Anytime you have a great view at a property, that's always something you want to highlight. One of the most commonly missed shots at real estate shoots are view shots. And I can't tell you how many times me personally and other realtor photographers that I know have had to go back to properties just to get the view shot because they missed it. So don't ever forget the view shot because it's a very important feature and it's a very important selling point that realtors always want. Okay, moving over here. So this room's good. Room's good. Looks like we got a toilet seat up here. Make sure to put those toilet seats down. This is the primary bedroom. Lights on here. This looks good. Got another one of those touch lights. Go. Boom. Awesome. And over to the bathroom. Cool. Looks good. And note that the washer and dryer are actually in the bathroom on this property, which is kind of different, but hey, every home's a little different. All right. And one thing is you'll see sometimes doors will have blinds like this and the blinds will be halfway open. It's important to just open it all the way up and put this up, just like so. And this binder is out of place. That does not look good there, so we're gonna hide that. Just make sure if you do hide something like this, that it's probably important to put it back when you're done with the shoot, or if there's any brochures or business cards or anything laying out, make sure when you hide them, you put them back when you leave. Another thing too, when it comes to doorways, especially sliding glass doors with screens, make sure that the screen is all the way open instead of like this, for example, where it's sort of halfway. So if you open the door up, just make sure this is all the way open and you have the sliding door shut like that. That's the right way you should set that up. All right, so we've come out to the back patio here, and I noticed that there was a hose laying on the ground. So the general rule of thumb with hoses is if the agent is here, you're welcome to politely ask them, hey, would you be able to put this hose away? It'll make the photos look better. If the agent isn't here, it's kind of just expected to wrap the hose up and put it away, unless you want to come back out for a reshoot, which I'm sure you don't want to. The other thing we have here is a paint can on the floor. I'm going to hide the paint can behind the AC unit here. I'm going to wrap this hose up real quick, and that will make this back patio look a lot better. Go. Okay, so after walking the property and making sure everything is ready, I did one last glance over here at the living room, and I noticed that there was actually a pillow tipped over. And this is a pretty common thing that happens, and that's very easy to overlook, but can definitely warrant a reshoot, and the realtor will 100% call you back to reshoot these photos if you shoot this property with just this pillow like this. So always pay attention to the details. A good real estate photographer and videographer is somewhat of a perfectionist, so you should look at each space separately and really analyze it and determine, okay, is everything really set right in that space? Okay, so now that the property is completely ready to shoot, I've come back to my car here, and I've grabbed my tripod and my Sony a7 III. I'm not going to take all my equipment into the property, because oftentimes what happens is you end up wasting time moving equipment around. So if you can, just keep your equipment in the vehicle, put your camera on your tripod, knock out photos, come back, grab your gimbal, knock out video, so on and so forth. That keeps the whole operation a lot more efficient. Also, if you're working with another person, sometimes that can be frustrating. They're moving your stuff around, you're not sure where it's getting put. So just keep it at your vehicle, keep it in one spot. All right, so basically we're starting outside. Generally speaking, I start on the exterior of the property first and work my way inside. And the reason why is because you want the photos to go in an order that sort of tells a story and gives the viewer a sense of what it would actually be like walking into this property. So if you're at a townhome or condominium complex like we're at right now, you should look for a sign, for example, like if it says Lakeview Condos or Lakeview Townhomes, definitely get a shot of that. Any sort of establishing shot of the entrance or the front area of the condominium complex, definitely get a shot of that. Doesn't necessarily have to always be focused right on the unit, but just on the general outside and the exterior of the building and the entrance. So that's what we're gonna get here. Right here, I'm actually standing at the main entrance of the complex, and I see the number on the outside here. I got my tripod all the way up. Generally speaking, when you're shooting outside, you want your tripod higher because your subject is higher. When you go inside, you can lower everything down a little bit more. So I got my tripod pretty much extended all the way up here. And I'm about 5'11", so I'm right around 5'8", maybe 5'7", for these exterior shots. Now I'm kind of moved over here to the left where I can see more of the facade of the complex, and I can see the entrance to the underground garage. Okay, so we've got some nice exterior shots just showing the front of the building and sort of the entrance. And a lot of times these condominium or townhome complexes will have amenities. In this case, we have sort of an outdoor seating space here. Sometimes they'll have pool spaces, sometimes they'll have spas and gyms. So check around the complex, make sure that you're covering the amenities as well. Oftentimes, since there's no front yard and backyard, the amenities make up those shots that you would normally get on a property that has a front yard and a backyard. So in this case, we got a nice little seating area, and we're gonna lower the camera down because our subject is now lower to right around chest height, and we'll get some nice shots of this sort of community park area right here. Get one shot here. This actually looks pretty nice. Alrighty, and we're on to the actual home itself. All right, so we've finished the downstairs and front entrance shots of the exterior of the building. We've now moved upstairs. We're almost into the unit. There is this nice little community space upstairs that gives you a decent view and has some nice umbrellas and seating, so we'll get a couple shots of that as well. Go. So I'm at just around 28 millimeter here for this shot. I already got a fairly wide shot of this space. Great. Okay, so we're right at the entrance of the property here, and I've actually got my camera set up pointing this way. And the reason I'm showing this angle here is because I want people to have a sense of what it's like actually walking in here. If I were to set the tripod up right here, which I will, I'll get a shot this way, but if I were to only have the shot, they wouldn't see what it's like actually walking up into the property. I think that's really important to show, and it gives people a good sense of what it's like actually walking in here. Great. All right, and we're gonna get this next angle here. This is just basically pointing directly into the entrance of the property here. I got the door propped open. Again, I got my camera about chest height. I could come down a little bit probably, just to give the area a little bit more size. The lower you bring your camera, the larger the space is gonna feel. The higher you raise your camera, the smaller the space is gonna feel, because you're increasing and decreasing the amount of floor that you see. That's basically why that happens. Great. Cool. Okay, so now that we've got these front entrance shots here, we're gonna get a shot with this door open so people have a sense of what it's like actually walking into the home. This is what I call the open door shot. You basically just prop the door open and set the camera right here in the center. If the space opens to the left or to the right, you might need to move your camera over here or potentially over here, depending on which way the space opens. For this unit, it opens directly straight, so we can basically just set the tripod and the camera right in the middle here. Again, I'm about chest height, just below chest height. I'm gonna make sure I have perfect verticals, perfect horizontals, and line this up as a nice, perfectly perpendicular shot to the space. We're gonna move to the next major space, which is the kitchen. So we'll get a couple nice angles of the kitchen. Each main space, so that's kitchen, living room, dining room, primary bedroom, you should get generally around 2 to 3 wide angle shots and maybe 1 or 2 detail shots. So that's what we're gonna do here. We'll get a wide angle shot from a couple different directions, and then we'll get one sort of more slightly detailed shot. And that really helps show the space off and then also show the character of the space. Actually, let me, we can leave that door open, actually, that's fine. Boom. All right, so we got that wide angle. We're gonna come over here to the sort of opposite angle to show the view from this angle. Okay, so we've got some nice angled photos of the kitchen. Now I'm gonna get a nice parallel shot. This is a straight on shot with good horizontal lines, good vertical lines. Again, I have my camera about chest height, and I'm actually backing myself up into this little bathroom here to give myself up some extra space. Oftentimes, if you need extra space to get a good angle of a room, look for closets, look for bathrooms, look for spaces that you can sort of back into to help make the area look a little larger. Okay, so now that we've got some nice wide angle shots of this kitchen, we're gonna get a cool detail, more zoomed in shot. And I'm using the Super 35 mode along with zooming all the way into 35. That gets the lens to around 50 mil. If you have a longer length lens that you wanna throw on real quick to get these shots, feel free to do so. Usually I'll crank down the f-stop to f4 on this lens to get that low depth of field look and to add some nice bokeh. Okay, so now that we're done shooting the kitchen, we've moved on to this dining space here. One thing I always like to do, and realtors generally won't tell you this, but in the back of their mind, this is what they want. They want each space to sort of be its own thing. And so what I'm trying to do here is set up the camera to where I can shoot the dining space just by itself. I'll also get some shots of the dining space showing the kitchen in the background, but in general, I'm gonna try to get one shot of just the dining table area here, not showing the living room over there and not showing the kitchen. And in order to do that, unfortunately, these chairs on the kitchen are in the shot right now, so I'm gonna move these chairs. Just make sure to put stuff back when you move them. And I'm just gonna slide these right over here for this shot. And your client will greatly appreciate you if you take the extra time and energy to get these type of shots and get these compositions. Okay, so we got that angle over there just showing the dining table by itself. Now we're gonna get this opposite angle to where you can see the kitchen in the background. And I'm gonna get one shot here without the chairs next to the bar, and then I'll put the chairs back and get that as well. I think with the chairs there, it looks pretty cluttered, and without, it looks better. However, the realtor isn't here, so sometimes it's better to cover both sides and cover your bases. Okay, so we got some nice wide angle shots and a single shot of the dining table here. Now I'm gonna grab a nice detail shot just to show the character off of the dining space. Alrighty, so we're done with the dining space. Now we're moving over here to the living room. I'm already looking at the living space, kind of picking out the angles that I want to get. I think this angle right here is the best angle because it shows the view and it shows the living room really well. Another great angle would just be a straight on parallel shot standing right here, looking straight out. I'll also go over to the other side of the living room and get that shot. So I got around 3 shots here. Camera height's around chest height or just below chest height. If you notice, the furniture here in this living room is pretty short, it's pretty small, so I'm gonna lower my camera down to make everything seem a little bit larger. And that's it. That's what you can do to kind of judge your camera height. If you have really tall furniture in a large space, you can keep your camera up higher, around chest height. If you have a smaller space, shorter furniture, lower that camera down. That will make the space seem larger and it'll give everything a much larger feel. Lower my camera a little bit here. Okay, next angle. Okay. All right, so we got all the nice wide angle shots of the living room here, precisely 3. And now I'm going to get a detail shot. I found this really cool angle, sort of low. If you notice, I'm down on one knee. I can see a little bit of the couch here. I can see a little bit of the staging on the coffee table. And then what's really cool is this view actually has a golf course outside, and there's some guys out there golfing right now. So I'm gonna try to get them in the background of the shot. I think this will be a really nice shot. I'm all the way zoomed in, and I'm using the Super 35 mode in the A7 III to get out to that 45, 50 millimeter range. So yeah, let's let it rock here. Okay, so we just finished shooting the living room, and we just got that nice detail shot down there of the view and those golfers, hopefully. And now we're going out to the patio. Like I said earlier, this is the most important shot of the whole shoot, is this beautiful view of the golf course here. We're gonna raise the camera back up to about chest height, or however high we need to get over this rail here. And we'll just get one wide shot sort of the balcony itself and the doorway, and then a couple nice shots, one wide and then one zoomed in of the view. So I'm backing myself into the corner of this balcony space here to where I can actually see the door and the balcony. And this is important because it gives people a sense of how much space they actually have on the balcony. And then I'll turn and get this nice view shot here. All right, now I'm gonna turn the camera over to the view here. And like I said, I'm gonna get one nice wide angle shot of the entire view. I'll try to get maybe just a little sliver of the handrail for some context, and then I'll zoom in and get a nice shot of maybe like the trail on the golf course there to show off sort of a detail element of the view. Okay, so now we're heading over to the primary bedroom and bathroom. The first shot we're gonna get here is just right at the doorway. You're gonna open the lens up all the way to 16 millimeters. You should be at about chest height or maybe just slightly lower depending on the size of the bed. And yeah, basically just aim the camera over towards the center of the bed, right at that 45-degree angle. And that should be always your first shot. If you notice, my camera is all the way over to the right, almost touching the doorway. I see so many times people will just plop their camera down where it feels convenient to them, and they're not utilizing the full width of the doorway to get the camera in the perfect angle. And you'll see when I show you these photos what that looks like and how you can get from all the way to the right side of the room all the way to the left side of the room by positioning the camera like this. In this case, the closet over on the side of the wall there is a mirror. So I'm gonna hit the shutter button, and then I'm actually gonna jump out of the way and hide. And the same applies to any kind of situation where you're shooting into a mirror. Okay, so now we're in the primary bedroom here and we're at the opposite angle. In this case, I'm actually gonna raise the camera up a little bit to give the room a little more space. Otherwise, if I have the camera low, I see just a ton of bed and I don't actually see over the bed and I can't see anything beyond the bed. So it's important to know when to raise your camera and when to lower your camera. Okay, so the next shot, the third shot of the primary bedroom here is going to be sort of a detail, more emotional style shot showing off the staging and sort of the character of the room. And a great shot to always get, that you can generally always get, is a parallel shot straight on looking over at the bed. You're not gonna line up perfectly in the center. You're actually gonna offset just a little bit to the right. That way you see some of the nightstand staging and you see the pillows and some of the blankets on the bed. Generally speaking, the shot comes out really nice. You're gonna zoom in though. Usually I'll do these shots at 35, or I'll even use Super 35 to zoom in and get even more detail. Okay, so now that we've finished the main bedroom area here, we're going into the primary bathroom. Same concept with the primary bathroom. We're just gonna start with a shot looking at the vanity in the corner of the doorway, and then we'll move into the bathroom to get a nice shot of the shower space. If it's a larger bathroom, feel free to move to the opposite angle and shoot back at the vanity from another angle, or line up and get a nice straight on parallel shot to show off the different space inside the primary bathroom. Okay. Okay. And so in this angle here, I'm basically in plain sight of the mirror. I really like this angle because it shows off the full width of the vanity, and it has the vanity close to the camera, so it really emphasizes the countertop and the space here. Unfortunately, I'll have to hide, so I'm gonna click the shutter button, and then I'm actually gonna hide down here inside the tub. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. Oh God, there's a spider in here. Holy shit. Okay, let's kill this spider first. All right, he's dead. Jesus Christ. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so we've knocked out all the primary spaces and main spaces of the property. Now we're moving on to the other small bedroom or office here, and then there's another little balcony space we're gonna get shots of. Same concept, I'm getting a nice 45-degree angle style shot right here at the entrance of the door, and then I'm usually grabbing another shot opposite of this. Again, I have the camera about chest height here, and yeah, we'll just get this shot here. And the last and final space we got here is this outdoor seating area and balcony. And we're gonna get a shot right here at the entrance of this space, and then I'll get another shot looking back. All right, and I'm over here on the opposite angle now. Nice and wide, I'm 16 millimeters. Generally, small spaces you wanna be at 16 millimeters unless you're doing detail or some sort of characteristic style shot. Okay guys, so that concludes the property shoot. Hopefully you learned a lot and you have a better understanding now how to properly take photos exterior, interior, and those view shots off the back balcony. Now, make sure after you're done shooting that you turn off all the lights, lock up all the doors, put any sort of real estate signs or signage back out where it was, and return items that you maybe hid or put away. I also will call the agent and let her know that the property is basically locked up and that I'm done with my shoot. And now that I'm back home, I'm about to jump on my computer and begin uploading the photos. Now, when I go through my photos after a shoot, I always drag them onto my computer desktop just so I have a second backup of them instead of just having them on the SD card. Then I open up the view window so I have 3 rows of photos. And essentially that allows me to go through the photos quickly because I can see each bracket individually, which makes it quick and easy to delete any photos that maybe I didn't want or any duplicate photos before I get those over to my editor. So guys, hopefully you learned a lot in this video and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.